Training and development, or learning and development as many refer to it now, is one of the most important aspects of our lives and our work. Many people view training as an activity that produces the result or outcome of learning, and learning is typically viewed as new knowledge, skills, and competencies or abilities. In our culture, we highly value learning. In a nutshell, human resource training and development should be of such nature that it should oil the human resources machinery, making it something that takes the organization forward. If human resource training and development is not professional or appropriate, the result is a bureaucratic setup that is a hindrance to everyone in the organization. Rather than get mired in mindless formalities, HR should facilitate the growth of the organization, for all of which human resource training and development is the foundation. Human resource training and development is the imparting of necessary knowledge and skills to a human resource professional in the organization. This is necessary for a number of reasons. HR professionals are very important for the organization. They need continuous upgrade of their skills and attitudes. Training them to bring them on par with the organization's goals and in tune with the industry trends is necessary, since well-equipped HR professionals are the means of ensuring optimal performance for the organization's employees. Since HR is engaged in what is perhaps the most important task for the organization, that of selecting employees who will become valuable resources, human resource training and development has to be focused on the right techniques for recruitment. Human resource training and development should include ways by which the HR professional goes about finding the right candidate for every position in the organization. The technique is not just about posting requirements on job sites and bringing the candidate to the interview panel. Each interview has to be meaningful and effective. It is a session in which the employees who are going to become part of the organization are selected. For this to be meaningful, human resource training and development should be such that even a junior HR professional in the organization is able to make the right choice. Human resource training and development should be focused on training the HR professional to understand requirements, thereby forming the organizational perspective. The HR professional who is in charge of recruitment should be able to gather requirements from respective managers. When the candidate is finally passed on to the manager for a further round, there should be very less wastage of time. For this to happen, the HR professional should be in complete sync with the requirements. Technical or non-technical, the requirement should be thoroughly understood. When HR interviews a candidate, it should be a formality for the higher-up to manager to whom the candidate will eventually report. This is a technique that human resource training and development within the organization has to hone in on the HR professional. Another important work of HRs is to enforce policies and regulations. For this too, the HR of the organization has to be thoroughly trained. Human resource training and development should be of such quality and relevance that no regulation should be out of place with the employees or out of alignment with the company's vision. When a policy is unpopular, it is HR which gets the bad rap. Human resource training and development should be such that these rules are not only in line with the organization's ethics and image, they should be popular with employees as well. In fact, human resource training and development should be of such standard that it should be able to identify any discrepancy and be able to come up with suggestions to management at the time of the formulation itself. Also, this would possibly be only one sound human resource training and development. Employee training and development are part of good management practices and good risk management strategies. The following issues and changes in an organization may indicate the need for employee training and development: employees' requests, employee survey results, evaluation deficiencies, individual development plans, law and regulation changes, need to develop new leaders, a new employee, equipment, manager, program, or technology, reassignment of positions, or lastly, safety issues. At the same time as the need for employee training and development is increasing, it can be argued that the time and money available in organizations for traditional forms of learning, such as formal training courses, has also decreased. Training and development can be initiated for a variety of reasons for an employee or group of employees, such as when a performance appraisal indicates performance improvement is needed, to benchmark the status of improvements so far in a performance improvement effort, as part of an overall professional development program, as part of succession planning to help an employee be eligible for a planned change and role in the organization, to pilot or test the operation of a new performance management system, or to train about a specific topic. Some typical topics of employee training include communications. The increasing diversity of today's workforce brings a wide variety of languages and customs. Computer skills. Computer skills are becoming a necessity for conducting administrative and office tasks. Customer service. Increased competition in today's global marketplace makes it critical that employees understand and meet the needs of customers. Diversity. Diversity training usually includes explanation about how people have different perspectives and views and includes techniques to value diversity. Ethics. Today's society has increasing expectations about corporate social responsibility. Also, today's diverse workforce brings a wide variety of values and morals to the workplace. Human relations. The increased stresses of today's workplace can include misunderstandings and conflict. Training can help people to get along in the workplace. Quality initiatives. Initiatives such as total quality management, quality circuits, benchmarkings, and so on require basic training about quality concepts, guidelines and standards for qualities, and so on. Safety. Safety training is critical where working with heavy equipment, hazardous chemicals, or repetitive activities, but can also be useful with practical advice for avoiding assaults. And lastly, sexual harassment. Sexual harassment training usually includes careful description of the organization's policy about sexual harassment, especially about what are inappropriate behaviors. There are some common myths about training and development. The first myth is that one-shot, quick-fix training sessions are usually enough. How often do we hear of organizations that implement development programs in which participants only have to attend training sessions? No accountability for implementation and learning required. If people are truly serious about developing skills, they need to put in more practice and effort than that. Myth number 2. Learners almost always apply materials from training sessions. It's often difficult, and rare indeed, for learners to later transfer learning from training sessions over to their lives and work. Training methods really incorporate real-life current challenges in the lives of learners. Therefore, learners are left on their own to later apply new concepts from the many books and binders gained during the training sessions. Myth number 3. People can achieve major goals from taking one-shot training sessions. Few major challenges in life or work are addressed by some specific procedure conveyed during a training session. Rather, learners get stuck because of strong misperceptions, feelings, or structural problems. Getting unstuck requires ongoing support, reflection, and testing of new methods on current real-life challenges. This ongoing support, reflection, and testing in real life are seldom included in traditional training sessions. Myth number 4. Trainers don't need to plan for ongoing support among learners. Few training programs recognize that learners very often need ongoing support to take the risks necessary to apply new information and materials from training sessions. At the end of a course, seminar, or workshop, learners are left on their own. Myth number 5. Learners are not cynical about training and development. Trainers and practitioners continue to ignore the major issue. To deal with cynicism, people must have a forum in which to vent to be authentic. Training programs really afford that forum. Myth number 6. Training is not really expensive. The price of education, including training and development, is skyrocketing, while creating a social crisis that leaves many businesses and their employees unable to access traditional means to education, training, and development. A positive environment for learning is always critical for success, whether it is the environment of a classroom or the environment of your organization. The learning environment provided by an organization is a function of the organizational culture. Organizational culture means the values, attitudes, and beliefs reflected in the mission, goals, and practices of the organization. The board of directors and senior staff of your organization set the tone for the organization's culture. Do their decisions and actions view learning as a positive way to improve individual performance and the performance of the organization? Are these positive outlooks reflected in the value statements, policies, and structures that guide the operation of the organization? Now we're going to discuss some ways that organizations value learning provide a supportive learning environment. First, you need to recognize that learning is part of everything the organization does. Opportunities to learn happen all the time. Organizational cultures that support learning recognize learning as an ongoing process, not an event. A new piece of legislation may be used as a learning tool for all staff. A proposed special event may become a learning opportunity for an employee who has expressed an interest in event management. They need to support the expectation of learning with resources for learning. An organization shows that it values learning by including employee training and development in the annual budgeting process. Items included in the annual budget reflect the priorities of the organization. Learning needs to be encouraged at all levels. Opportunities to learn are made available for everyone in the organization, from the board of directors to the most junior staff. Organizations need to recognize that mistakes are learning opportunities. One way an organization shows that it values learning is its approach to mistakes. Failure is critical to the learning process and must be considered in the context of the individual's role, potential, and future success. When we fail, we might react in one of the three ways: learn from the mistake, continue to fail, become reluctant to try again. In today's workplace environment, leaders must develop a culture that removes the punishing effects of failure to help people take risks, be creative, and to grow. It is important to encourage people to learn from mistakes rather than just being afraid to admit their mistakes for fear of disciplinary action. Organizations need to have a policy on employee training and development. A policy on employee training and development shows that the organization values learning. Professional development policies usually include guidelines on how often employees are expected to take formal training: once a year, once every 2 years, types of development programs that are going to be acceptable, when and how employees will be reimbursed for off-the-job programs. Leaders of organizations need to provide time for learning. Time for learning in the workplace is important for the success of an employee development program. This means employees time to learn about the interruptions of everyday activity. And they need to be allowed for practice of new skills on the job. Learning does not end when the activity is over. Opportunities to use the knowledge and skills they have learned on the job will ensure that people retain what they have learned.